Good morning, students. Here is your science teacher, Kenneth Irfan. I will teach you science and see the book International Lower Secondary Science 2. This is a book for students of Prep 2. And the topic which we are going to start today is chapter number 1, from cells to organism. As it is written in the board, from cells to organism, this is chapter number 1, and in this chapter, topic 1.1 is cells, the building blocks of life. This topic we are going to discuss today, and the subtopic of this topic are cell, unicellular organisms, multicellular organisms, microscope and specimen. These terms will be explained to you in this topic. For example, if we see the first page of this book, here are a lot of buildings you are watching on this page. These buildings are of different types. Some are small, some are big, but all the buildings are made up of bricks. When we break the buildings, the basic unit which we find is the brick. It means all the buildings which we can see on this page and around us, these buildings are made up of bricks. We can say that brick is the basic building unit of these buildings. Likewise, we can say that living things around us, these are of different types. For example, there are a number of animals, there are a lot of plants, and there are some microorganisms which we will discuss later. So all these living things, whether they are plants, whether they are animals, whether they are microorganisms, they are made up of cells. For example, the definition is present. The first topic which we are going to explain is cell. So the definition of the cell is present at page number 2. A cell is the basic unit of life. It is the smallest part of living thing which is capable of carrying out basic life processes. Here is the function of the cell. For example, it is written that cells are capable of carrying all life processes. Means all the functions which we are performing, the cell is performing the same function. That's why we can say that it is the basic building unit of all living things. Likewise, the bricks are the basic building unit of all living, non-living things. Same, the cell is the basic building unit of all living things. So it's no matter that the living things are plants, animals or microorganisms. But the difference between the microorganisms and plants and animal is that microorganisms are so smaller that we cannot see these cells, these organisms by our naked eye, because they consist of single cell. They are made up of single cell. That's why they are called unicellular. Okay, so the question arises, how the microorganisms were discovered. So for this, at your book page number 3, science tidbits, you can read in this that more than 300 years ago, a scientist, Robert Hooke, used a self-made microscope to observe the cells of the cork. So he used the plant part cork to see the cells. So here the second term is unicellular organism. Unicellular organism, as we have discussed, that uni means one, cellular means composed of cells, means the organisms which are composed of single or one cell. All the organisms which are made up of only one single cell, they are called unicellular. Here are some examples which are written on the board. These are paramecium, bacterium, alga, amoeba and yeast. These are some examples of unicellular organism. So the question arises that if they are made up of single cell, how we can see these cells? The answer is microscope. Through the microscope, we can see all these organisms. They are living, they are carrying, as we have said, that they are carrying all the life processes. Since they have all the life processes, then we can easily say that these are living organisms. But why they are called unicellular organism? Because they consist of single cell. They consist of only one cell. That's why they are called unicellular organism. The third term which we are going to start is multicellular organism. Multicellular organism means more than one cell. Multicellular organism means more than one cell. It means these are the organisms which are made up of many cells, a number of cells, a lot of cells. So the organisms which are made up of many cells, they are called multicellular organism. A lot of multicellular organism examples are around us, but they should be living things. So when we talk about multicellular organism, first one is human being. All human beings, all animals are made up of many cells. So they are called multicellular organisms. And when we talk about the animals, a lot of animals, all the animals which we see, they are multicellular organisms because they are made up of many cells. And the examples of multicellular organisms are elephant, frog and a lot of others. Likewise, plants, whether they are smaller, whether they are larger like a big trees, they are made up of many cells. That's why they are called multicellular organisms. Flowers, plants, whether they are small or bigger, no matter, but all are made up of many cells. That's why they are called multicellular organisms. And the human beings, as we have discussed already. So what is the difference between the unicellular organism and multicellular organisms? Once again, that unicellular organisms are the organisms which are made up of single cell, and the multicellular organisms, they are made up of more than one cell. And the next one is microscope. Microscope is an instrument which is used to see different microorganisms. Micro means very, very smaller. Micro means smaller, and organism, living thing. The word organism we use for living things, but not for non-living things. So the microorganism means very smaller living things. So these microorganisms, as we have explained, paramecium, bacterium, alga, amoeba and yeast, these are some examples. A lot of other examples are present. But these microorganisms are seen by the microscope. See the page number 5. Here is microscope. So first of all, we can see that what is microscope. Microscope is an instrument by which we can see the microorganisms. Okay, so these are different parts of microscope. This is the eyepiece. Eyepiece is the part through which we see into the microscope. And then it is arm. This is the part by which we can hold the microscope and we can move the microscope according to our feasibility. So arm can be held and it can be moved. The other part is objective lens. These are the lenses which magnifies the specimen. The word specimen, we will discuss it later. So it can be magnified, the specimen, and this part is called stage. It is where the specimen slide is placed, and on the stage there are two clips, stage clips. These are called stage clips, and these stage clips hold the slide. So slide can be put on this stage, and these clips can hold the slide. At the slide, the microorganism is present, which we are going to observe. Focus knobs. These are two focus knobs by which we can focus the sharpness of the image. And light source. It is the light source which is provided to the slide by the microscope. Here is a power switch which is pressed to switch on the power. The last one is the base. It is the base of the microscope. Okay, next the term which we are going to explain is specimen. See the term specimen. This is called slide. You are watching? This is called slide. It's made up of glass, and the thing or the object which we are going to observe is called specimen, and this specimen is placed on the slide, and this slide is placed on the stage. This is held by the stage clips, and by moving, we see through here, and by moving these focus knobs, we can see the image which is magnified by the microscope, and we can easily see the specimen or the microorganism. Specimen is the microorganism which we are going to study, or the object which we are going to study. That can be the part of plant, that can be the cells of animals. Okay, so I hope you have understood the term specimen. The specimen term is written on the page number 6. The object to be observed is called the specimen. You can, when you will read the chapter, you will easily understand what is specimen. So the next which we are going to study is cell theory. As we are discussing from cells to organism, and here the first topic is cells. Okay, and we have talked about the cells, unicellular, multicellular, and how we can see the cells, and how we can study the cells, and what is called the specimen. So here is a theory which is written by two scientists, Sheldon and Shaw. These are the names of two scientists, and they proposed a cell theory. That in 1839, two scientists, Sheldon and Shaw, they proposed the cell theory, and the 3 points of the cell theory which explain the cell theory are, first one is all living things are made from one or more cell. What is the first part of cell theory which explain the cell theory is all living things are made from one or more cells. Means living things, if they are unicellular, they are made up of one cell. If we are talking about the multicellular, these are made up of more cells. Number 2, cells comes from pre-existing cells. As we have talked, that cell is carrying out all the processes which the living things have. So the cells come from the pre-existing cells, means the cells are made up of pre-existing cells. Cells divide, redivide and make more and more cells. And the third point is cells are the basic unit of life. Here the topic 1 is going to end, which is topic 1.1, it is going to end with the cell theory. And these 3 points are going to explain the term cell theory.